What's up everyone, Kamahl here, welcome to another video. As I previously stated last night, due to my voice going all cattywampus, I pushed the remaining of the patch note readings off till today. And so I'd like to finish reading the patch notes for you. This is probably going to be stretched out over 2 videos. I'm not going to read through all of the bug fixes because we all know how GGG is. When one bug is fixed, 2 more bugs are implemented. So let's go ahead and use this video to jump into the unique items. And as you know, if you like the videos, you like me, you just want to see more, I don't know, if you feel like it, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that kind of shit. Let's get into let's get into the unique items. So, items which previously inflicted a random curse will now inflict a random hex. This affects Soul Mantles and Ylfhelbin's Trickery. Thunder Fist, Agnarod's East, and Stormcharger now grant increased lightning ailment duration on enemies rather than increased shock duration. Stormcharger and Doriana's Fist now each now grant increased lightning ailment effect rather than increased shock effect. So it looks like a lot of these are just verbiage changes that I've read so far. Crystal Vault now grants increased cold ailment effect rather than increased chill effect. The Blood Reaper now grants 20 life regeneration per 20 seconds, and that's up from 10. Existing versions of this item will be updated with the use of a Divine Orb. Blood Grip now grants 16 to 24 life regeneration per second from 8 to 12. That is also a buff. Existing versions of this item can be updated with the use of a Divine Orb as well. Chimeria's Avarice now triggers the Icicle skill on hit rather than on kill. This affects all versions of the item. That's pretty cool. Gluttony no longer has level 30 Poacher's Mark on hit. No longer grants Culling Strike against enemies cursed with Poacher's Mark. Now grants 20 to 28 life on hit with attacks against cursed enemies, 10 to 14 mana on hit with attacks against cursed enemies, and Culling Strike against cursed enemies. Mark of Submission now curses enemies with socketed hex gems on it. On hit, rather, not on it, on hit. This affects all versions of the item. Profane Proxy now only causes socketed hexes to be applied as an aura around your skitterbots. The Putrid Cloister no longer applies projectile weakness to players, now applies despair instead. Well, that's cool. Wait, to players. Maybe that's not so cool. The Tempest Liberation. The skill used by the Greater Harbinger of Storms will no longer try to chain to targets it has already affected. Watcher's Eye, this is a long one, can now grant 10 to 15% increased energy shield recovery rate while affected to discipline, and that is from 20 to 30%, so that's a nerf. Can now grant 6 to 10% of maximum mana as extra maximum energy shield while affected by clarity, and that is down from 12 to 18. That is also a nerf. It looks like Watcher's Eye is getting a nerf across the board. Can now grant 10 to 15 increased mana recovery rate while affected by clarity, and that is from 20 to 30%. Can now grant 10 to 15% increased life recovery rate while affected by vitality, and that is from 20 to 30. Can now grant 0.8 to 1.2 of damage leached as life while affected by vitality, and that is from 1 to 1.5. Can now grant 8 to 12% increased recovery rate of life and energy shield while affected by malevolence, and that is from 15 to 20%, also a nerf. Like I said, I'm seeing a trend going on here with massive nerfs coming to this. We now have, can grant 8 to 12 increased recovery rate. Oh, no, I already read that. Can grant 20 to 30% to critical strike multiplier while affected by precision, and that is from 30 to 50%. Existing versions can be updated with the use of a divine orb. New versions now grant 1 to 1.5% of life regeneration per second while affected by vitality instead of 100 to 140 life regeneration per second. Existing version of this modifier are unaffected. Basically, if you have a Watcher's Eye, don't Divine Orb it, because even if you have like the lower end, it's going to get nerfed. Even if you have the lowest rolls on your Watcher's Eye, if you hit a Divine Orb on the Watcher's Eye, it will be nerfed. So keep them as they are. Don't Divine Orb your Watcher's Eye. The Whispering Ice. The Ice Storm skill has undergone a significant rebalance, with larger impacts falling in a smaller area, meaning you are significantly more likely to hit targets within the area multiple times over the storm's duration than before. Now has 2 to 4 base cold damage per 10 intelligence from 1 to 3. That's good. Now has a base duration of 1 second from 1.5. Now grants 0.1 seconds of additional base duration per 100 intelligence, and that is from 1.5, so it's a slight nerf. There is now 1 impact every 0.2 seconds, and that is from, that's a nerf from every 0.1 second. Now has an added damage effectiveness of 60% from 45. Now has a maximum of 5 storms at a time. Any more than that, replace the oldest. Any more than that, replace the oldest. Okay. Oh, I get it. So basically, if you cast a 6, your first one, or if a 6th one is created, your first one will be removed, and it just replaces the first one. You create a second or a 7th, your second one is removed. Impacts now have a base radius of 16, and that is up from 10, 16 units, up from 10 units. Impacts can now land in an area with a base duration of 22 from 25. So that is a slight nerf on that end. Monster changes. Raised Spectre versions of Redemption Sentries and Redemption Knights now have approximately 33% less life and damage than before. That sucks. Bosses throughout Path of Exile and monsters deep in the Azurite Mine no longer reduce the effects of marks on them. That's really good. Hexproof monsters can now be cursed, but will ignore the effects of any hexes applied to them. Previously, curses could not be applied. Hexproof in no way mitigates the effect of a mark. Monsters which previously used curses have had their behaviors updated in line with the new curse behavior. Monster packs in the caverns and Ancient Pyramid now spawn with the appropriate necromancer. No more ash prophets with lightning skeletons. Fair. Monsters, I guess that's not really, it doesn't really seem to be a nerf or a buff, just kind of a what's the word, a thematic update, something that goes along with the theme more. Monster, even though, like, I mean, thinking back to Diablo 2, if you're a fire source and you're using, for some reason, an Act 3 mercenary, you would definitely not want to have a fire-based Act 3 mercenary because you would need to get past the immunes, but regardless, that's all beside the point. Monsters now use their own version of the new, as of 3.11.0, Enduring Cry. Dreadwheel monsters, as found in the Climb, no longer have quick and fast attacks as in implicit modifiers, and have had the effects of these modifiers moved to their base properties. As a result, external modifiers on their movement and attack speed, such as from maps, have greater effect. So those monsters got a little buff. Buff for them, not a buff for us. Cannibals no longer have an extended windup before they throw their stones. Buff to these monsters as well. Let's see, how much more do we have? There's a few more, so let's go ahead and read the Atlas and map changes, and then we'll read the Xana League mods available, and then we'll go through the rest of these and in the next video. So Atlas and map changes. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled, though the pin location for maps has not changed. Most maps are now initially found at a different tier. Unique maps have not moved or changed their tiers. Improved signaling for advancing the Atlas questline steps in in which Xana opens a portal after the map boss is slain. Penitentiary Incinerator, boss of the dungeon map, will no longer spawn infinite skeletons if he's allowed to live indefinitely. I'm assuming the summon skeleton, maybe the reason that people would do it would be, I don't know. I mean, if they have drops, I don't understand. I mean, the drops or possibly experience would be the only reason that I could see somebody letting the boss live and just spawning or killing the skeletons. But I feel like that would have been something that they would have mitigated a long time ago, the drops and the experience from those mobs. Ancient Architect, boss of the Pier map, will no longer summon spiked ground on top of other spiked grounds. We have Xana League mods available during 3.12. Xana's map device options are now unlocked as you complete bonus objectives on your Atlas. These are the League mods available during 3.12. Fortune Favors the Brave, costs 3 Chaos Orbs. One of these options will be applied at random, including those you have not yet unlocked. That's pretty cool. Honestly, I'm the type of player that I believe in just alch and go until you get to red maps. Once you get red maps, obviously alch, val, and go until you have them completed. And then once you've completed it, just alch and go. Abyss costs 2 Chaos Orbs. Area contains an additional Abyss. Domination costs 2 Chaos Orbs. Area contains 2 extra shrines. Bloodline costs 3 Chaos Orbs. Magic monster packs have a Bloodline mod. Area contains 3 additional monster packs. Magic monster packs. Nemesis costs 4 Chaos Orbs. Rare monsters each have a Nemesis mod. Area contains 5 additional packs with a rare monster. Beyond costs 5 Chaos Orbs. Slaying enemies close together has a chance to attract monsters from Beyond. Blight, which is 8 Chaos Orbs. Area contains an additional Blight encounter. Delirium, 16 Chaos Orbs. Area contains a Mirror of Delirium. So that's what we have for this video. Not too long, not too short either, but it's really not that long, about 13 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. In the next video, we're going to be covering the Blight balance changes and currents changes, delve changes, user interface improvements, and quest rewards, PvP changes, and then we'll be done with these patch notes. So once again, if you like the videos here, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. I'm out!